think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wanted to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter can beat me.
Demolish everybody, to be honest. Everybody that's in my way. The pinnacle to any weight division is to have all of the belts, all of the titles.
Welcome to Bodywork. Welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. Man, it's been a long day, y'all. You get up at old dog 30. You go to work all day. And you have time to think and ponder and look at everything, man, and just clear your mind, man. A lot of times I say I'm the pulse of Boston because I get a chance to look, listen, feel, put my feelers out, see different perspectives, analyze things, sometimes in a vacuum without speaking to anybody else about the matter. And I draw my own conclusions. Salute the bold and understanding. Salute body. Salute bold and understanding. Salute, man. But before I get into the subject matter at hand, I just want to open up with this, man. It's kind of crazy, man. We're not gonna go over gaslighting, man. We kind of beat the dead horse with that, and we always I always try to put it out there to where you know it's a lot of gaslighting going on in conversations, whereas people are pretty much insulting your intelligence, which I think, man, is in today's day and era, man, with all the critical thinking skills and analytical skills and just common life experience. You ain't gotta be no doctor or no brain surgeon or something like that to figure out when somebody's actually pulling the wool over your eyes, man. And I think that people really think how Bob Arum, said about fans. They really think Cookie Monster sounding good. Salute Cookie Monster. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. Hopefully we don't have any technical difficulties. Salute Cookie Monster. But I think people really believe what Bob Arum once said, where he said boxing fans are like rocks. You can just throw them wherever you want, and they'll be there, right? And it's a lot. You could tell because a lot of creators, man, they go by that mindset. It's like, I don't care. I'm just going to cater to this one, cater to this one. But the one thing about the truth, the one thing about time, it'll wear you down. Like a lot of those waters, the waters, those rivers that come down off those mountains, man, that was forged. That water was over a period of time broke down in rocks. And we all know what Bruce Lee said about water. He said, "Be water, my friend." So you gotta be flexible and go with the flow when it comes to the boxing, man. And for me, I've been analyzing a lot of things, surrounding, the conversation around boxing, kind of get nervous about where boxing is going. If you look at some of my earliest videos, several years ago, you look at a couple of the earliest videos, man, you will actually hear me talking about how boxing was headed down a WWE path. And I was like, man, you're going to take something as primal as boxing to where you can always joke around and say, listen, you can put two babies in a playpen 3, 4 years old. If it's a problem, what's gonna happen? They gonna start squabbling. You know what I'm saying? Somebody gonna punch somebody in the face or slap somebody, or you know what I'm saying. And if one of them ain't ready, it's that's primal. It's in our nature, man, to put down the ones and the twos. So you're gonna take something as raw as boxing, as as raw as it can be, with all the rules and the regulations and all that. Something in a sport that we love, that goes back to the beginning of whenever you first realized that you could put your hands on somebody, or somebody realized they could put their hands on you. You're gonna take and ruin that and water that down with a bunch of acting. And I don't know about you, but when you was a little kid, before you realized that wrestling was fake, man, before I'm talking about way back, Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant, like before you really realized that wrestling was fake, once you found out it was fake, it was almost, for those who celebrate, it was almost like finding out that Santa Claus wasn't real. Now, some of us put it together ourselves. Me, I put it together myself. How come my Nintendo is wrapped up with the same wrapping paper that we got in our closet, mommy? I'll put it together. Like, some of us will put things together without no assistance. Some of us will get the chair pulled out from up under him. So some of us went and told our friends that, man, Santa Claus, that ain't real. Some of us talked about it. Some people just straight pulled the chair out from up under their loved ones, just straight up. They couldn't wait because their parade was shitted on. It didn't mean you wasn't going to get nothing at that time of year. It didn't mean that. It just mean that the jig is up. The jig is up. I already know, man. I'm not, no more. I'm not going to go sit on that man lap and take no pictures and, try to pull his beard off. I'm not lining up to take them phony pictures, unless you make me. I already know what's going on, man. But the jig is up, and it's a lot like how people open up when they start talking about religious stuff like that. When some people become aware that a lot of this shit is all about business, and they wake up, right? The first thing they try to do is go out and shake and rattle somebody's cage. Just like anything else, when you come across information and it's now deep down in in your heart of hearts, and what's real and what's fake, you're gonna go out and share it with somebody. In Greek, they call it oikos. It's like when close friends and family tell you something, you tend to believe it more. You're a little bit open. If your twin brother tell you something, if your sister tell you something, if somebody in your family tell you something, it's oikos, man. But when you wake up and you go out and you start trying to wake other people up, like, hey man, get up, man, get up. The house is on fire. Get up. The first thing that happened is they get upset. And I remember when I first got woke, it was on my 33rd birthday, like when I fully woke up. I've been woke for like 10 years maybe, but I wasn't fully woke until I was, ironically, when I was 33 years old. I couldn't wait to tell everybody. And I realized, man, that what I was really doing was disturbing people's faith. So I made it a goal of mine to never pull the chair out from up under somebody, especially when it comes to their faith. Because if you do that, they'll fall on their face. But what you do is you tap them on the shoulder, you let them know, hey, I'm getting ready, I'm getting ready to say something, man, that's going to make these legs in that chair that you sitting on feel a little wobbly, man. But listen, I'm not going to take the chair totally out from up under you and, make you fall on your ass back, have you looking real sad, black. I got something for you. It might not be that chair you sitting on, but it's going to be a nice little crate. And from that crate, you can build it into a king's chair with all the information you get, and in turn you can go and share. So what I've been doing in this boxing world, man, is I started off in part of I started off in a part of a couple of these little communities like on boxing, because I was just going like, hey man, yeah, it's like the watering hole. It's like, you know, water cooler talk. I'm going over there to talk some boxing. I'm going to go hear what my man got to say about this boxing. And over time, the shit became toxic. And I always been a troublemaker in the sense to where I'm going to ask questions. Hey man, that's not how I understand it. And, you know, there's sometimes I'll sit there and remain silent. You know how you are when you're a little kid, and you're around a room full of adults, and they say, "Be quiet when grown folks is talking." So I sit and I'll listen, I'll watch, I'll wait, I'll observe, and I took that approach in boxing. And I realized that it was okay when I was sending super chats. It was okay when I was donating. It was okay when I'm like, yeah, man, you cooking, like you snapping, dog. You facts, Equifax, artifacts. But the minute I said, hold on, man. Oh nah, look at you, look, you hating. Look at this, you D-riding. All this stuff. So I said, I gotta fall back. You know, I no longer in anything in life. I never traveled a big broad path. I prefer the road less traveled. I prefer taking the stairs, man. I gotta qualify information. I gotta get details. I want to know the height, the width, the length, the depth, the breadth, the capacity, the buoyancy, the volume. So we don't take things for face value. And so I have my share of fighters that I like, right? And I have some fighters that I don't really care about. Some of them have found themselves in the crosshairs of my scope. Why you say that, Mike? If you listen, I'm gonna tell you, right? Shakur Stevenson, man, he's always been one of my guys. I call him the definition. When I first started watching Shakur Stevenson, I said, man, he's the definition of hit and not get hit. Like, by definition, that's what he is. That's why he was in my Boxes to Watch collection. That's his name in my Boxes to Watch collection. And for years, I found myself, when everybody was slandering him, shitting on him in favor for this other guy, I found myself defending them, saying, oh man, y'all brainwashed. Oh man, like, stop it, man. Like, look, man, this, blah, just doing all that. And over time, right, it's kind of like the same thing happened with Tio. It's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of weird. It's kind of like the same thing happened with Tio, but like not as bad. Like for me, I'm off of Tio. I'm off. You know what I'm saying? I'm following along. I'm watching. You know, I'll report on something about him. You know what I'm saying? I got a video probably coming tomorrow. I was going to do it tonight. Salute Bodywork. Salute his twin. Salute. I was going to do a video on T.O. tonight, but I burned the midnight oil as far as work. But I'm off of T.O. You know what I'm saying? Shakur is still one of my guys. I just like outside. I just allow myself to like appreciate him. When they say ding ding ding, that's when I appreciate Shakur, man. Because the outside of the ring stuff, man, it kind of finally caught up to me a while back. Probably been about a year, about maybe a year and some change, maybe a year and some change now, where I started saying, hold on, man. Like, nah, I'm not rocking with that. I'm not jacking that, right? And what I noticed about Shakur is he has a lot of fans of his, right? They appreciate the boxing style. But one of the biggest things about Shakur is that how can I put it? What they notice about Shakur is he got a lot of fans. I'm gonna give you an example. If it was a McDonald's on this side of the street, right, and it was a Chick-fil-A on the on the other side of the street, right? If you don't like Chick-fil-A, you gonna go to McDonald's because you just don't like Chick-fil-A. Do you get me? So because a lot of people don't like this one guy, 135, it started off where everybody saw his potential. They know he's an Olympian. They know he's an accomplished boxer. They know that very, very, very few people will even be able to say that they're Olympians, let alone medal, let alone be that close to getting a gold, but actually getting a silver. That's like monumental. That's like dreams. Something. If that was it, if that's where the buck stopped, like you made it. Goddamn, you in the history books. You did something that nobody will probably, like a lot of people would never be able to attain or achieve. They know that about Shakur. They know that he is the sweet science embodied. They know that. They also realized that he was, he went on to do some things as a professional too. 3 divisions. He unified. He's a champion. Endorsement deals. He be with the movers and the shakers. They know all of that. So it's not really the accomplishments. It's really some of the, I'm gonna tell y'all what it is. It's really the behavior. It's the moves. And then I know once he said F you to the fans or F the fans and I'm foreign core, that's like, well, it was like the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I'm like, man, like he said F us. He said that those guys across the pond are better than us. And I did give him a reprieve because I did say that I said he got a point. Why? Because the fans across the pond, they just want to see a good scrap. But that's not how he meant it. That's not how he meant it when he said it. And I'm entitled to my own opinion, so that's really not what he meant. He was basically offended because it dawned on him that unto whom much is given, much is required. So when you find yourself being granted all of the eyeballs and all of the energy of the boxing world, just like some other guys, it comes along with a lot, man. Like fans have, like, when you come out and they know that you are like the creme de la creme, the expectations for you to do creme de la creme type shit is very high. So it came a point in time when people start saying, hold on, man, Shakur, you don't normally do stuff like that. You normally, like, you be letting your hands go. Like, we like you because, yeah, you were defensive, but shit, you could make them miss it, then make them pay, and when you get heated up, you gonna let them combinations go. Like, what's going on with this performance, brother? So ultimately, he arrived at the conclusion that it don't matter what he do, the fans are never gonna be satisfied. Which is like, that's some old, I'm gonna get my money and I'm gonna ride on and pretty much like F the fans. Like, I'm doing me, and which is cool. I mean, that's his career. That, like, he has every right to take that approach. Like me, I don't care for it because it's like, man, come on, man. Like, you, especially me, at 44 years old, if Shakur was one of the little homies and I was around, I'd just pull him to the side and be like, hey, bro, like, look, man, look. Like the old heads used to do. Like, that's what we would do. That's how I was raised. See, an old head will pull you to the side and be like, listen here, they'll pull your coattail and tell you some shit, and you might not like what they got to say, but you're gonna sit there and listen, and you're gonna respect it. Why? Because I was in the era where you respect your elders. You just don't outright disrespect your elders. Like, you listen, they give you good counsel. But see, now we kind of like in a different generation. This is a different era. It's dog eat dog. It's young against old, man against female, light skin versus dark skin. There's so much schism out here that it's the wild, wild west. There is no real voice of reason. So somewhere along the path, Shakur was like, I'm gonna do my own thing for my people. I'm gonna go get this bag. I'm gonna do this. Fuck the fans. You know what I'm saying? And it started affecting things that he didn't think it was really affecting. That's why he was getting asked all these crazy questions. And I don't know, you know, I'm just giving my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because it's never really to berate or deride these young guys, because they all getting a bag. They get more money than most of us will probably ever see. And it's like, cool, you beat the odds. Like, you beat the odds. You wasn't a statistic. You might have been a statistic in certain things, but you really, really beat the odds. So we salute and commend, but like, one thing we not gonna do, especially people like myself, is we not gonna co-sign a lot of the bullshit that come along with the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just not. So it's been this common theme that nobody will fight Shakur. Nobody will fight Shakur Stevenson. He came. Nobody will fight me. Nobody will fight me. And his OnlyFans, man, they man, I'm like, y'all are delusional. You know what I'm saying? His OnlyFans, the ones that, like, I call OnlyFans fans. When I say OnlyFans, that's a person that's only a fan of that one fighter. And no matter what they say, what they do, they're gonna ride with it, they're gonna slide with it, and it ain't no convincing them otherwise. That's what I mean by OnlyFans. So you got Tank OnlyFans, you got Shakur OnlyFans, you got Keyshawn OnlyFans, you got Devin OnlyFans, you got some people that where they don't care no matter what the situation is. And I told y'all, these are them hindsight boys. I told you it's a pattern of where there's certain people out here, when it comes to other fighters, they are the most critical. They can be so critical of their performance. They can say whatever they want. They can put them up on in thumbnails and drag. They can call them all outside their name, call them bees. They can say whatever they want. They can talk to the fans any kind of way on their behalf. Like, they just, like, it gives them that energy to go against them, because in their heart of hearts, they really hate this other guy. But they don't use the same criticism that they have for their guy, because they're only fans. right? I seen the interview today, man, with Gabe Rosado on TBV, and Bill got on there, man, and whatever ounce of respect I had for him, I lost like all of it, man. I lost all of it, and then I was looking in the comment section. It was some Devin only fans in there. There was some Devin, and they were just co-signing. They were just berating Gabe's resume and talk. And I'm like, man, if you even heard what Bill was saying, I'm like, man, that's an only fan. If you co-sign and endorse, and you agree with the way that Bill Haney was talking to Gabe Rosado and the things that he said, calling that man a B, talking about his father, calling him a bastard. Like, if you are only fan, you are an only fan. That surpasses just regular boxing talk. And you know the nature of my channel is silence is consent, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for grown men to remain silent. So if you ain't saying nothing, you agree. And those kind of people are the kind of people that I would never want around me. Never. That's why I call this 300. All I need is a few good men, a few good women. I call it the 300. We not supposed to be all that big. We grow over time, but when you locked in, you locked in. That's why I don't try to be sensational about all of the things, but like when it comes down to these boxes, man, it's like the talk around it, their behavior around the things that they do and all that, like it goes so far left that we not even really talking about, we don't even really be talking about boxing no more. It just be this one person expressing their fandom, this other person expressing their fandom, devoid of facts. So whatever respect I have for Bill, what little ounce of respect I don't have none, man. I said this a long time ago. I was like, man, it's not that people don't really like Devin, man. It was like, man, they really don't like Bill. But like, if he's in charge and you allow him to do that, and you don't be like, hey, Dad, because there's been some time where it's like, okay, you could say it was just Bill, but they're running the shit. So if he can't check his father at this point in time, what would be the difference between him and Floyd Schofield then? If he can't check his father, I'm like, hey, man, I don't think that was the best move or whatever. I don't think that made me look right, Dad. I don't think that was the best way to go at this. Is that good for business? Did we burn a bridge? Did it improve my image? You got me trying to live up to some shit that's not really me. But you would think, man. I would think, man. Listen, man. He's still young. It's like how bad or how much of a bad. Like I understand. Like a lot of fighters fight because when they were younger, they was fighting. They just typically fight. We all was like that. I just happened to play football. I was like that. Like fights was gonna happen. We scrapping. That's what happened. It happens everywhere else in nature. Like we scrapping. And they say sometimes the young adder spit too much venom. It happens. But I was saying that, man, maybe it's not necessarily Devin. Now some people might not like the fighting style. Some people might not like some of the responses and all that, but a lot of that shit stemmed from the shit that Bill was doing online. That ain't nobody trying to separate no father and no son, no blah, 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 this and this and that. Because when it comes to other people, you don't give them guys the same grace. You don't give them guys the same grace. You don't give other father sons the same grace. You know what I'm saying? You don't. But that interview was disgusting, and I was looking at the comments. I was like, yeah, these are OnlyFans right here. The ones that's justifying this, that's co-signing this, these are OnlyFans. I'm not an OnlyFan, man. And as men and women, responsible, grown, it's like, yeah, you come to get your rocks. So you come online to get your rocks off, get your jokes off, get your you know what I'm saying, get away from your everyday life or whatever. It's like it should be your entertainment piece, and it just happens to be that a football is boxing, that a basketball is boxing, that a baseball is boxing. Like that's what we come here for. But the conversation is going so far left that when it comes down to somebody actually really pouring out some facts, you don't even want to hear it. You be so fanned out that you don't even want to hear what the fuck is going on. So I said, let's play a game. Because I noticed here lately, I'm bumping heads. I be bumping heads with people who claim to be Shakur Stevenson fans, and I'm bigger fans than they are. And I know because of one, how they act, how they respond, their lack of knowledge. They don't even know what's going on with Shakur. They just fanned out. It just all fanned out, man. So I said, let's play a game. In my jigsaw voice, all your life. Let's play a game, man. Nobody will fight Shakur Stevenson, true or false? Would that be a true or a false statement? Like nobody, he can't find a good fight nowhere. Like nobody wants to fight him, right? True or false? I almost didn't catch you. My notifications haven't been alerting me. Wow. AC, salute Bodywork. You on fire tonight, bro. Salute twin. I appreciate that. Thanks for keeping it going. But I got something for you, man. Before I really go into this laundry list, man, I got something for you, and I'm gonna tell you what's actually happening right now. And I gotta point this out, man, because I seen a you know me, I always say I always go back. Every now and again I go back and see if try to see if some of these people have changed, if there's any change in them, if they just gonna, be bottom dwellers all their life. You know what I'm saying? So I might go back and see, okay, with this or that, and I went back, man, and I got confirmation that what I said that was happening a while ago is actually happening in real time, and I'm gonna let y'all know exactly what it is. I'm trying to pull it up now in the background, and we're gonna roll it down. I just had to get my initial thoughts out and break down this OnlyFans. Give a little history about how Shakur became into the fold as one of my guys, but how I kind of had to fall back a little bit, man. I always had Tank over all these niggas, you know what I'm saying? But within the fold, I still had boxers that I liked, to where if they wasn't fighting Tank, I got them. You know what I'm saying? So if you ain't fighting Tank, I got you. If you ain't fighting this, because I still don't think that they can fuck with him. You know, people might see that, they might have seen what happened with the whole Lamont thing, and they might feel like, oh, it's a chink in the armor and all that. I'm like, okay, that's cool. When they line it up, when they run it, I got Tank. Because there's some guys that, until proven otherwise, that's just what it is. Like Mel, I still got Mel. He went up there and he battled Canelo, and he didn't look like himself. Bills, salute. All right. This is gonna make sense, y'all. I gotta. I should have had this up. I should have had this already queued up. But I'm gonna tell y'all what I saw. Now I knew this was gonna happen. I knew this was gonna happen. I was telling y'all. I called it out just like I knew that once Keyshawn got that belt, I knew that all that tank shit, all that tank talk, I knew that shit was gonna be over. It's in real time, y'all. This is what's happening. And I feel bad. I kind of feel bad. I kind of feel bad for Devin, man. I kind of feel bad, man, because his OnlyFans, man, they skirts is showing, man. It's a great migration that's going on in real time. To where you notice who ain't on this thumb, right? You notice who ain't on here. But the DB4, which are the two on the right, that's two of the DB4 right there on the right. You got Devin over there, and this is what his fans are doing. And it happened, like anybody that was opposed to the tank, they would be doing this on them. But this is what's happening right now. Why? Because they're hedging their bets. They're hedging their bets against Devin. And I've been noticing this. They've been doing the cha-cha slide for months now. They've been doing this slide for months now. It's all these people, all these Keyshawn Davis fans, they came out of the woodworks. They already letting allowing Keyshawn to leapfrog Shakur. Like, I'm like, I don't know how. Like, how? Based on what? That's why I see through and I cut through all the bullshit when they be talking all that legacy bullshit, because legacy wise, what has Keyshawn done that Shakur didn't do? 3 divisions, unified, and they both had silver medals. But off the rip, they already jumped ship. But no, what this is a lot of these guys that were Devin only fans, it's a great migration. They jumping from Devin Haney over here to Shakur or Keyshawn. So they splitting up, and then all right, I'm gonna go with Shakur. I'm gonna go with Keyshawn. Or anybody but Tank. I've noticed it. I've been around. I've been a part. I used to be going into these communities and talking and chatting and sitting there and sitting through lives after lives after lives, which were really lies after lies after lies. So I noticed the pattern. That's why I said, man, I was with Keyshawn. I said, man, hey, the brother got talent. He got potential. He got this. Then he started doing that same old dumb shit that I seen all of the Devin only fans do. I started seeing the Shakur fans do. I started seeing and hearing the same rhetoric from these channels that push these guys. And it's clear as day, you can see who's getting paid by what, why they're actually pushing this agenda, why they're pushing that agenda, and what this is really about. This is not about boxing. This is about popularity and politics. Or politricks. But this is what's happening. It's a great migration, and a lot of people are jumping ship. Like Devin's, I seen this dude after putting Keyshawn up in drag. Putting Keyshawn up in drag, putting Shakur up in drag, calling them both female names. I seen this nigga totally jump ship. Now he's edging. He's edging. How appropriate. He's edging over to Keyshawn. And I'm like, how? Not you. Not after all the shit, like, not after all of the hours and hours and hours. You shitted on this dude. You been shitting on both of them. You wasn't keeping it about boxing. You made it toxic because you was a Devin only fan, but now you seen a chink. You think you seen a chink in Tank armor. He looking mortal. He looking human. Now You got a jockey for which one of these guys you want to now cling on to. See, they tried it with Frank Martin. They tried it with Frank Martin, and what happened? What happened to Frank Martin? So that was no. So Frank Martin, he's back in the rebuilding phase. I always kept it 100 on Frank. I said the same thing about Frank. Videos. I remember at one point in time, I had more videos about Frank Martin than they did. I just said he about to go up against Tank. I was like, man, he should have took the Shakur fight. I gave my little theory, my little analysis on it. I said, hey, you gonna duck, you gonna mess around and pull out and duck. They're gonna label it a duck, what you did, because we gotta label it that. You gonna pull out from that fight with Shakur when nobody expected you to win. They expected him to box you, outbox you, to go get knocked out by Tank. And that's what happened. But these same people, right? They were trying to, it was like, you ever seen in them cowboy movies how one man be riding two horses? Every time anybody who they thought could rival Tank, they would have that one, you know what I'm saying? Because that one leg is always going to be strapped to Devin. But that other leg was riding another horse, and that horse always happened to be whoever was on the opposite end of Tank. And y'all know my saying, stop me when I'm lying. They tried it with Frank. It didn't work. It didn't work. And they was weaponizing Frank because they thought that they could get behind him because they thought that he can go in there and do whatever he was going to do to Shakur. And they thought that he was going to go in there and be able to do what he could do to Tank. But he pulled out, listening to them, getting on their toxic programming. He listened to them when he had a better shot against Shakur. Especially after seeing the De Los Santos fight. After seeing that De Los Santos fight, I know he was kicking himself in the ass. He like, man, I wish, you know, so. Now Frank is still a good fighter. Frank is still a good fighter. But this is what's happening in real time. I had to set this foundation. So when you ask, where did all these Keyshawn Davis, but not the ones that's from Norfolk or had followed them through the amateurs, those are organic fans. He himself, he did something that most people would never be able to say anything about. He did something great too. He medaled as well. He get all the glory. He get all the praise for being able to medal in boxing for that. You got to think, the two on the right was over there with Top Rank. We already know what Top Rank do. It's no secret. It's no secret. T.O. Fimo just came out and he reiterated that, man, you know how they build. And then T.O. was like, man, he's still a baby. Now, I don't know if he was saying that because they got some little ongoing beef or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. The beef between T.O. and Keyshawn, I don't know, man. But this video is really not about Keyshawn. I just had to point something out. It's something that's been happening, and this shit been happening ever since this shit started happening. It was an inkling of it before the Ryan fight, but after the Ryan fight, that's when motherfuckers started. Right when that night, that's when motherfuckers started backing up. You know how when you back up because you getting ready to try to jump from building to building, or you getting ready to try to jump over a fence, how you back up a little bit, give yourself some space. That's when they started backing up a little bit, right? And for a while they was in purgatory, right? These motherfuckers took off in a full blast, and now they are jumping, right? So a lot of the fans they're defaulting over to Keyshawn, right? Saying that he's next, saying that he blah blah, and I'm like, based on what? Right? So I'll probably do another series like this, right? I'll probably do a let's play a game, and you'll see Keyshawn over here, right? I'll probably do another one of these, another let's play a game, a true or false, or some kind of game that we're going to play, and Keyshawn will be over there. But tonight is not about Keyshawn. Tonight is about Shakur. Nobody will fight the WBC 135-pound champion Shakur Stevenson except for Frank Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, JDR Herrera, Edwin De Los Santos. I had JDR Herrera there again. Gary Antoine Russell, and a slew of others. And I know where I messed up on that. I know where I messed up on that. I know where I meant to put right here. So let me fix that. There we go. Boom. Let's go over these names again. Frank Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, Tito Mercado, Edwin De Los Santos, JDR Herrera, Gary Antoine Russell, and a slew of others. The ones that I care to talk about are all right there. Right? Now, one of the things we got to look at, right, is I played this a while ago. Right? But when you all fanned out and you don't have ears to hear, you don't don't, because you don't want to hear. And you're not going to address. That's why I noticed that whenever you ask, when you ever got a Shakur only fan in your crosshairs and you ask a question, they're gonna get real quiet. They get real quiet, right? But then they get real loud whenever you bring up another guy. They got a whole bunch to say, a whole bunch of like they all over the place, man. But I have this. Let me play this for y'all. Here we go. Hold on, I'm sorry. Let me play this for y'all.
How that thing in our fighting meeting was that, I think the interesting conversation that we had with how that thing in our fighting meeting was that he said that he was interested in facing Shakur Stevenson. He said at one point in his career, don't know how soon it was, you know what I do? He said that he had a contract that he had signed to face Shakur Stevenson, and he has no clue what happened on the other end. I just thought that was extremely interesting to hear. I don't know how true it is, but that is something that he did say.
So when you, cause you be needing fuel to combat, and you be wanting to have the same energy about everybody, right? You don't want somebody to come out and catch you with your pants down and put the tool to the end of your knot. So that was Tim Bradley during the fight, and this is when I knew, okay, they was keeping stuff close to the vest. They was keeping stuff all quiet, right? Because this was doing the I think this was doing the Baranchek fight. I think that was doing the Baranchek fight. It's been a minute, but it's already on wax, and I did a whole video about this and when it was or whatever. So much didn't happen, right? But that was Tim Bradley basically saying that Navarrete had a signed contract to fight Shakur Stevenson at some point in time. If you were a Shakur only fan, did you know that? Were you aware of that? Now, the other thing is this. On the Boxing Voice, right? And this is probably the best part of TBV is the interviews. Like that's probably the best part, right? Jermaine Ortiz was on there. Guess what Jermaine Ortiz said? He had a contract to fight Shakur when he was at 35. Now, if you look at it, right? Because a lot of people they fail to do this when it come down to Top Rank, right? But T.O. had been spilled the bean. That's when I really started like expect with this new era. When T.O. was spilling them beans, right, about Top Rank and how they move or whatever, he really like peeled back a lot of layers for me. That's when I started noticing the patterns with Top Rank and how they do their fighters. So if you think about it, listen, how far off would Jermaine Ortiz be when Shakur beat the brakes off of Jamel Herring, right? Jermaine Ortiz came behind him, beat the brakes off Jamel Herring, right? So how far-fetched is it for, at that time, for Shakur and Jermaine Ortiz having a potential knockdown drag-out in the ring? Especially when, because he was over there, ultimately, Jermaine Ortiz wound up getting a T.O. So T.O. got a Loma when he was over there. When Devin was over there, he got a Loma. But it was never a Devin and T.O. Interesting. Now, a lot of people like to talk about the rankings. And oh man, this like, okay, so when Shakur went out there and he had Josh, he fought Josh Padley, he stopped him. A lot of fans, myself included, was saying, well, dang, man, we don't expect an electrician. The harshest criticism Shakur got was, we didn't expect the electrician to be able to last 9 rounds. Oh my gosh, why you guys always complaining? Why you all like, listen, man, that was our only criticism. The man shouldn't have lasted 9 rounds. They were whining and crying. So this guy, JDR Herrera, right? He was rumored to be the other option, right? Cuban, over there in Dubai, Southpaw. All but 2 of his fights was knockouts. So 2 people got off the hook. Got power, he tall. Kind of a little rangy when he decide he want to use it. You know what I'm saying? His feet don't be stuck in the mud. Might got a couple holes on defense, but listen. Last time I checked, he was in the top. He was number 10 in the WBC. I got to go back and look, right? But the thing is, he stopped his guy. The guy he fought, who was a boxer, he stopped his guy before the electrician got stopped. You know what they said? Oh, man, he ain't ready. I'm like, okay, well, listen, he in the top 10 in the WBC. And this is what I be trying to tell the OnlyFans. When in trying to be a shield in between him and whoever else, especially when he can't get a fight, you peel off some of the luster off of Shakur. Why? Why shouldn't Shakur be able to get it on with that young man? But they always have an excuse. Like I'm telling you, listen, man, because I haven't even programmed myself to do it. Internally, I have. Subconsciously, I have, because I listen to these conversations. I watch these interviews. I listen to a lot of these lives when people be going live and they be talking about these things. And whenever you bring up Shakur Stevenson and you name somebody, the knee-jerk reaction of the OnlyFans is to always say something to obstruct the fight. Oh man, he ain't ready. Why he ain't ready? Oh man, you see his defense, Shakur do this. Well, let Shakur do that. Let him beat the brakes off of JDR Herrera. He in the top 10. He in the WBC. Somebody gonna have to get him. He a southpaw. He got power. Why would you get in the way of that? He ain't gonna try to break the bank. They got in the way. Edwin De Los Santos. I went over this the other day when I was talking about the difference between Tank and these other guys when they had these questionable matches or lost, they didn't want to go right back and immediately rematch whoever. Tank say, listen, I want to get this shit off my chest. I want to clear the air. I want to do all that. I want to make it definitive. That's a Floyd move. If ever there was one. If it was questioned, he gonna go back. He gonna run it back. I'm gonna show you that this dude ain't on my level. That's what Tank doing with Lamont Roach right now. But with De Los Santos, his fans jumped it. The only fans now. Gotta qualify that. The only fans, man, why y'all want to see that again? Listen, man, like almost like they like because it's almost like, okay, because he had a hurt hand, and that was for a belt, mind you, a vacant belt. But because he had a hurt hand, it's almost like the OnlyFans make it seem like he ran off on a plug. Like basically he grabbed the dope and just ran off. He got away. It's like, why do you feel like if you're so confident, why wouldn't you want to see him do it again? With a fully healed hand, with a better hand. They made excuses for De Los Santos. De Los Santos wanted to run that back. They got in the way. They got in the way of it. Frank Martin. Yeah, he walked away. I was caught. I said, man, that's a duck move, Frank. Man, I fuck with you, Frank, but that's a duck move, man. I rock with you. And people wanted to see that fight. When Tank got the fight, oh, man, here we go. He ain't fight nobody. But they was in love with the fight when Frank was getting ready to fight Shakur. So we fast forward to after this Tank fight. Frank came back out and was like, yeah, run it now. Send the contract now. We ain't hear nothing. We ain't hear nothing. The mulligan that Shakur get is with the Schofields. Like I'm kind of like until I hear something from them, man, I'm kind of done with the Schofields, man. I'm kind of done with the Schofields. So yeah, I'm done with the Schofields, man. Like, I'm done with that shit. I like Kid Austin, you know what I'm saying? I think he got some potential. Still a little rough around the edges, but I'm done with the Schofield. He get a mulligan for that. The first time when Zepeda said, I want to have a baby and all that, I didn't understand why Shakur couldn't just waited another month. Because it had to be true, because after that baby, like, soon as he had, like, the week of after he had that baby, Zepeda was back outside. And he wound up going up against the Tevin Farmer. And it's a couple guys that ain't even on here. Cause I could have put Raymond Danger Moritalia on there. So the other time, since Zepeda went ahead and got it on with Tevin Farmer. And I think they pickpocketed Tevin Farmer out of that decision. I can't say robbery, because it was close, but they pickpocketed. The business of boxing dictated that Zepeda still won. Why? Because they were still clamoring for that Shakur fight. So then he was saying that he was hurt. He had a hurt hand. The jury is out on that. I do know that he did, like Tevin Farmer did earn his run back. So the jury is out on the Zepeda. I don't know if that was more of because it be looking. I've tried to tell y'all. I tried to warn y'all about this because I seen these patterns. I tried to warn y'all with that Oscar shit. When Oscar say, "Oh, I'm gonna let my guy," and yeah, these guys, they went, yeah, man, because my fighter. Because remember what he came on and said about. That's what makes it so crazy about the Schofields, because Oscar was out there live, like when the Schofields was saying they was pushing to make the fight and sign it, just let me do this. Oscar was like, yeah, you know, I want to build my fighter, you know, we'll have plenty of time to fight, you know. He was saying, you know, I want to build him, you know, you don't put the fighter in there tough after tough. Like, that's what Oscar was saying. So it looked a little funny in hindsight with Schofield pulling out. But I tried to tell y'all, I said, how is Shakur going to be over there with Matchroom guaranteeing a fight with somebody on Golden Boy? And they say a bird in the hand is better than two in the bush. But that bird wasn't in hand with the Zepeda. It wasn't. So the jury is out on Zepeda. I'm off that Schofield stuff. You know what I'm saying? That looked like a big ass gimmick. That looked fishy all over, especially with Oscar not wanting that, man. Like him tweeting and saying all this when the fight was damn near about to be, when it was about to be sealed. That's how he was talking. Now it went on to get signed, sealed, and delivered, and they went all the way to the extent of going over there. And then, you know what I'm saying, he got sick or whatever. Like, I ain't gonna say he ain't almost lose his life and all that. I'm just saying that shit looked funny in the light. So out of respect for the Schofields, I'm not gonna go in them. I'm off that shit. He got to get all the way back in the ring and do something like spectacular for me to even like entertain anything with that shit. Those are the mulligans that Shakur get on my end. The Frank Martin, the Schofield. Not the first time was Zepeda, because I put that on Shakur, but the second time was Zepeda. So Shakur got two in the possible. He got the Frank pull out, he got the Schofield pull out, and the second time around was Zepeda, he got a possible. Outside of that, Tito Mercado. Now it's funny how Keyshawn, he got all the credit when he went out there and did what he did to Pedraza. Years later, this ain't nothing like when Tank fought him, when he was that guy and Tank relieved him of that strap. When he was his prime, when he was really the sniper. It's funny how Keyshawn get all the credit for what he did to Pedraza. But guess what? Tito Mercado came in there, stopped him in 4. And you know y'all know what I call these two on the right. I call them Wally Kit and Wally Cat. Why? Because when I started looking at them, I was advertising them as this. The Young Guns. I thought they were the Young Guns. I thought that was Chris and Neef from the Young Guns. Then when they started doing that friend shit, and this is when I look at this. This is when I was heavy on it. You see that date on there? I said, don't ask. They're Batman and Robin. So, when the Tito Mercado, which is this guy right here, for those who don't know, Tito Mercado is this guy on the far right. Tito Mercado was calling out Wally Kid and Wally Cat at the same time. They was at the fight. That's the night when Andy Cruz, when Keyshawn just wanted to fist bump and act like a child when it came down to Andy Cruz. The one who be calling him his son. When he did that immature shit and didn't want to shake hands and build up, you know what I'm saying, the publicity of the fight or something, even for the future, businessman. When he didn't want to do it, the dude Tito Mercado sparked Pedraza. He called Shakur a B to his face. And was like, I know this ain't gonna fight me. He said both of them. I smoke both of them. Now, if we was at the club, let's just say we was at the club, and I know, man, like, if we was at the club, right, and me, like, back in the day, if we was at the club or we was in the spot, and I'm with my man Kurt, and the dude's out here talking about he'll smoke both of us, you know what would happen? Tito Mercado did that. Shakur OnlyFans ain't say nothing. And the only reason why I held back was because I was like, man, I don't want, it's a thin line between me making it appear as though I'm just targeting Shakur. I'm not targeting Shakur. I'm keeping the same energy that everybody keep for all these other guys. But see, these are things that are on wax. That's why I don't like the fact that all the OnlyFans, they always have all of this ambiguity when it comes to, oh, I didn't see that interview. No, he said that. How they always be so clueless? They never know. Don't you hate when motherfuckers love to not know shit? Oh, man, I don't know. Can you be around a motherfucker that be like, I don't know every day? all day. Well, Schofield was a tap on the shoulder. Still no results from the investigation. Shit is aging like 45 day dry aged A5 Wagyu beef. So I was asking somebody with all these people coming in here with all like Bills and Bold. We got my man AC. We got his twin. I was asking somebody to stop me when I'm lying. So you got Frank Martin that will fight him. Jermaine Ortiz just came out and gave us some privileged information. He said when he was at 35, he had a signed contract. I played a clip. I played a clip from Tim Bradley. When Tim Bradley said that Navarrete said he had a signed contract. You know what happened? You know what? You know how that make me feel? That make me feel like if let's just say you was in a relationship, right? And you find out some funny business, like somebody, and like it's like, okay, so you find that out, and then it make you think like, well, okay, well, hold on, that happened. So then it's like, okay, so listen, if Tim Bradley said that Navarrete had a signed contract with Shakur name on it, and that never came to light, but this is when they said, you know what, we ain't sparing Shakur no more. We letting out all the beans. Which was kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? It was kind of a little dirty, but that just show you how Tim Bradley is, right? Because Tim Bradley let that out in the smear campaign on Shakur. But you can't really call it a smear campaign. It was just messy of him to put that out there on the airwaves and let everybody know that. Why? Because everybody was keeping that close to the vest. So then you fast forward to yesterday, just yesterday, when Jermaine Ortiz was on the Boxing Voice. He said he had a contract when he was at 35 for Shakur Stevenson. So you know what? That made me think, well, like, damn. So back during that time, because you gotta think about that round robin back when Shakur fought Jamel Herring, and then Jermaine Ortiz went and fought Jamel Herring, right? And I think that was before Jermaine Ortiz fought Loma, if my memory served correct, and before he fought Tio. And you also see that in this thumbnail, who did I say was a problem? Who did I say was a problem? Who's the guy on the far left? We already know that Sabril Matiz, he was like, yeah, you know, because when Shakur was saying he would go to 40 to fight Isaac Cruz, Sabril was like peeking his head out like, hey, and then he was saying that he would just spar Sabril. I don't know where, I think Kenny Sims, I don't know where he stands, wherever, but ironically, these are all 40s, right? These are all 40s. But 3 of these guys actually said that they will fight him, and Sabril will be more than willing to fight him. I don't know where Kenny Sims stand. I think they cool or whatever. I don't know if they would ever fight. I don't know. Right? But Jermaine Ortiz just confirmed that he had a signed contract with Shakur Stevenson's name on it. Navarrete had a signed contract with Shakur Stevenson's name on it. So that make me think back to around that time, what else was we being lied to? Or what else was being withheld? Tio, because he was out of pocket, that's the only way, that's why I really started tracking him close, because Tio was acting like a sperm lover. Why? Because they was not paying that man, so he started spilling the bean. He started connecting the dots for me a long time ago. That's how I already knew. When I came out with this, and people love to take credit for this, but I was saying it in real time. That's why I be ruffling a lot of feathers, because in real time, when I was saying this was the plan for Keyshawn, when I was saying that keep jaw jacking with the Vargas boys, because that's some shit for DB3 or now DB4 to get down the line. But I was saying it's gonna be Lemos, Vargas, and then Baranchek. I was saying that in real time, though. I was saying that in real time. And that's what wound up happening. Why? From looking at patterns and how Top Rank get down. So with that being said, when it comes down to Mr. Shakur Stevenson, we don't know, like, during the time with all this paperwork, with Navarrete being on contract, with Jermaine Ortiz being on contract, what else was withheld? What else don't we know? Who else gonna come out and do it? And it's somebody else that said they had a contract. It's somebody else. I keep forgetting who it was. I gotta go back through my old videos. But it was somebody else. So this whole thing about he can't find nobody to fight him. I'm thinking we debunked that. The Gary Antoine stuff, I think Gary, he kind of took it, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to jump on it. Everybody else was jumping on that. That just came to my attention. I'm not jumping on that because I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that shit at all. I just think that it's ironic that when JD Herrera comes out, he does what he's supposed to do faster than what Shakur did to the electrician. Everybody say he ain't ready. It ain't your choice to say whether or not he ready. It ain't your choice. That's food that's since we living in this era. Since we're in this era, how about you start finding people that you say, all right, yeah, I'll take him. Yeah, let him fight him. Since they Batman and Robin and they ain't gonna fight each other, and they not really the young guns, like I thought. Stop taking food off of Shakur's plate. If Shakur want to go in, Shakur should spike that young man. Shakur should like, all right, I'm gonna peel the lust off of him. You've been knocking everybody out. All right, let me learn you something, young buck. I'm not an Only fan, but I'm a Shakur fan, and that's my stance. School the young buck. Get on his ass. And there's this one channel, man. This man, I mean, he always talking about being on somebody's helmet, man. That's, first of all, that's outrageous, man, that you repeat that over and over again, man. Don't be talking about you on somebody's helmet, bro. Not in this, we in the cam era, man. But I'm noticing that he slip and slide around a lot of shit too, man. He always slipping and sliding around. Like I said, they point out all the sins of Tank and none of the sins of their own fighter, right? But he slip and slide around a lot of shit that Shakur did. Now, I'm not saying that at one point in time a lot of people were saying no. I'm not denying that Isaac Pitbull Cruz was like, nah, man, he gonna run around and all this other stuff, right? I was just saying my other stance was, okay, that's from Isaac Pitbull Cruz's stance. But my stance was, why do Shakur even want to fight Pitbull? Because nobody want, like, I mean, if he would have got it on and they would have made the fight, we was going to watch. But I'm like, he's already been, I mean, come on, man. I didn't want to see it. I would have watched it if it came to. So I'm not saying that he didn't go down a list and like, a couple people was like, nope. Then you got the Frank Martin shit. Now you got the Schofield shit. So I'm not saying it's not shit that he can say, well, listen, this one, he did this, he did that. So I give him a mulligan on like 5. So if you put in Isaac Pitbull Cruz, you put in the Frank Martin situation, now in the Schofield situation, a possible with the Cepeda, that's 3 in a possible. In favor of Shakur. But in this game we playing, I can tell you more people that will fight him than that won't. And ain't nobody stop me because I guess I must not be lying. But this is happening in real time. I want y'all to keep y'all eyeballs out on this because this is happening in real time in these YouTube streets. People thinking they being sneaky. They shit starting to change. They starting to switch up, and it's the Great Migration. Hopefully, I put a lot on your mind. And I was gonna stop and get all the clips, but like everybody heard the JDA Herrera. I'm not a baby. The whole, because that's what T.O. we talked to Shakur was. I'm not a baby. Send me a contract. And also one of my things was, you can't put so in every conversation when it come down to Tank as the A side, they put all the pressure on him. Oh, well, he the A side, he gotta send. Okay, so I always said, well, in any situation outside of the Tank situation, Shakur would be the A side, right? So then Shakur, where's all the pressure for Shakur to do it? There is none. There never is. So you got JDA Herrera, you got Tito Mercado, you got Jermaine Ortiz, you got Frank Martin. So between Frank Martin, Jermaine Ortiz, Tito Mercado, a rematch between Edwin De Los Santos and JDA Herrera, I'd sign me up for any one of them ASAP. But I think I've proven enough to where I was like, man, and then that's not even using, because look, I was going to use the JDA Herrera thing, right? Everybody already got that. That's already out there. So that would have just been, okay, me playing it just like I played that Tim Bradley. That's easy peasy. I could have went back and caught the timestamp and played the whole Jermaine Ortiz. That was on TBV. I don't know how they're going to act if I use that. So I didn't use it. But you can go back and look at the interview on TBV from yesterday when Jermaine Ortiz said it. So we got to stop with the Boogeyman, man. Listen, a Boogeyman, Sabril Matias was a Boogeyman for a while at 140. Gary Antoine was a Boogeyman for a while. You could say that for a minute, Boots, other than people moving up them 40, all them 40-pounder, that's why I'm against the TO moving up against Boots at 47. I question his power, and that's just another layup for Boots. You could say for a while, Boots was a Boogeyman. Right now, this guy right here, let me get to that division. This guy right here, the guy on the far left, he's a Boogeyman. He's a boogie. That guy right there with that IBF strap, he's a Boogeyman. Charles Conwell, he's a Boogeyman. To a certain extent, I think that De Los Santos, to a certain extent, he's like, I mean, it's questionable, but to a certain extent, he's a Boogeyman. Because ain't nobody really just calling him out, trying to scrap, trying to do this. You know what I'm saying? I think I heard a glimpse, and I had recommended on my live. That's why it's crazy when I did this video right here about how 40 being reloaded. I was actually saying that Frank and De Los Santos should fight like a day or two later. They came out talking about it could have been a possibility that they was actually going to scrap. So I'll be on it. That's why I call it the pulse of boxing. I just be saying shit that people don't want to say. I try to say it in the most respectful way, but I be trying to get us to keep the same energy. So look out for this, peep this, watch this. This is what's going on in the YouTube streets. We already know that Tank, he surpassed Floyd. It's a photo finish now. It's the most hated. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even gonna get into that. But I think you know what I'm saying, nobody was able to prove me wrong. I gave factual information. I gave my stance on Shakur. I gave the landscape of what's going on. And I showed you more people that will fight him than wouldn't. That actually makes sense. Especially now the A side with a turkey bag. He should be able to pick, choose, and refuse. He should be able to do like, you know how them ballers be in the club when they be pointing like, hey, go get her. Go grab her right there. He should be able to go point at all these wallflowers and be like, hey man, bring this nigga over here. I want him. I got some smoke. So that facade about how nobody fights you, I think that game is over, man. I think that game is over, man. It's just that when you're not looking for some viable options, and you always doing the typewriter and the electric slide, and you trying to boogie from the left to the right, and you got all these excuses, and the only rebuttal you got is Tank. That means you're not being genuine, man, in your fandom. You being a fanboy. You got on some knee pads, some throat coat, some tonsil jewelry, but you don't really want what you claim you want when it comes down to seeing the best fight the best. Y'all know I like keeping these like an hour and a half tops, so that when people listen them to the playback, that they'll it'll be in, you know what I'm saying, it won't take up too much of their time, but it'll put something on their mind. But it's out there. AC,
What's good, buddy?
what's happening, man?
You know, I had to come get some of that. Oh, my bad.
You good? You good, man?
Yeah. I just hit a whole bunch of buttons and a whole bunch of weird shit just happened. But you know, I had to come in here and get some of that basic meal that you over here cooking, man. You feel what I'm saying? Can't nobody deny what you said, because we like, yo, that shit is facts, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just like, you know, yesterday I was trying to break it down, like, you got to keep the same energy. If you gonna say, if Tank does X, Y, and Z, then he ducked this guy. If you gonna say if Dev did X, Y, and Z, and Dev did X, Y, and Z, then he ducked Shakur, then you gotta hold Shakur accountable for the same thing, because, you know, he was supposed to have leave and we supposed to revisit shit, but you keep mentioning everybody but that guy. You feel what I'm saying? The guy that you said you know that's the biggest fight in boxing, but yet, where's your responsibility to keep that fight, you know, in the public side? Like, yeah, all right, after this Lamont Roach shit, Tank, what's really good? You know what I'm saying? I'll fight another whatever, just to stay busy. But, bro, we got to get this shit going. So handle your business with Frank. I'm rooting for you. I mean, where's that type of throwback energy when, oh, Shakur is a throwback fighter? Y'all don't really know. See, y'all don't understand the type of throwback fighter Shakur is. All right, I don't see the throwback attitude or antics. You showing me you are not a 100% complete, you know, new school fighter, and I have no problem with that. You feel what I'm saying? I'm critical on you because I held you in high regards in the past. You feel what I'm saying? And then as I started to see certain moves you did at 130, that made me question, okay, are you the guy that I think you are? And then when you got to 35, there was plenty of smoke up there. Yeah, in the beginning when you first got there, that's when people could rightfully say, yeah, a lot of people didn't want to fight him and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, there were guys calling you out. There was movement. There was, you know, stuff that you could have taken when you wasn't doing nothing. But you chose to, you know, pout, cry, you know, say you deserve everything because you were X, Y, and Z and 2 division champion and all of that. Fine, Shakur. Fine. Nobody's questioning your accolades. We're questioning the performances and whether or not you put asses in the seat like that. Because that's what's really going to build these mega fights that you want these big paydays for. You can't ask for the paydays when you're not the guy that people want to see like that and pay the premium price to see you like that. But he's like, yeah, but I'm still Shakur Stevenson. And the market is telling him, yeah, so fucking what? So what? You got Terrence Crawford over there that's done a hell of a lot more than what you do or did. And he ain't even getting it like that guy right there that you talking about.
And I don't know why, this one point, I'm gonna say this to address what you just said. And I don't know why he don't pick up on that. It takes two to tango. So until he really get that guy that they feel like it's a good tango, because you gotta look at it. Bud didn't take off, like with all them accolades and all that. He didn't take off until he did what he did to Spence.
Yep.
It's a harsh reality.
Yeah.
Why would you wait all that time? Like you 27, he 27. Yeah, he about 27, right? He what, 26, 27? Shakur?
Yeah.
27,
yeah.
Right?
I think he just turned 27. Yeah, but
27, right? So why waste your time? Like, you know, you need the dance partner. So you could, so while it's early, while it's still relatively early, because if you look at Bud's age and his age, and that just happened 2 years ago.
Yep.
Before last, right? You know you need that dance partner. Get the dance partner out the way to where it's like that, because you see what happened with Bud. Bud took off after that.
Yep.
It wasn't before that. Yeah, he was getting his bag and he was doing this, but as far as like getting like that bag and being recognized like that guy, like that wasn't until he had that perfect dance partner. But this is something else I wanted to ask you. Some of the things I said, it gotta go in line, because don't you keep hearing that when you heard Lamont Rose, he said before this fight, he said actually me and Shakur had actually talked. He said he would be willing to do it.
Yes.
So that be telling you that there'll be these little understandings that, okay, don't say nothing, right? Don't say nothing about this, but I'm going to do this. We're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. That's why I be trying to say it be best laid plans. I said they be playing us as fans, because I find it ironic that, think about it, Shakur didn't have nothing but glowing praises about the Lamont. Like when they asked him, they said, oh yeah, man, Lamont, yeah, man, he's a good fighter. He, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this blah, blah, blah. So he had nothing but positive thing. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Because when everybody else was saying, oh man, he shouldn't fight him, like, you know, the people that was pushing the narrative, they were saying it. Yeah. But they had already had like almost like a handshake deal. Yep. To where once Lamont showed up and showed like that he could be formidable to Tank, the crosshairs switched over to where they wanted Lamont and Shakur and Lamont and Keyshawn. And I'm like, hold on now. I'm tired of going through this when it comes to Tank opposition. Like, because when he get ready to do it, it's shitty. After you fight him or whatever happens or whatever, then everybody else can do it and it's okay. That's what I was trying to say. But for them to have a handshake, gentleman's deal agreement beforehand, that let me know that this was not the only one that this actually happened. Now it was made public because Lamont is in the limelight and there's somewhat of a demand for it now, or an option where, okay, all right, we've seen how he did with Tank. Let them get this business out the way. I wouldn't mind seeing him in there with Shakur. I wouldn't mind seeing him in there with a Keyshawn. It's okay now, but just think about that. If they had already talked about that and had agreement that, okay, cool, you cool, I'm cool with it, we gonna get it on. Ain't that kind of, that's odd, right?
Yeah, because I was trying to let it be known. I'm like, yo, bro, this dude was already weeks before the fight, man. He was already talking with Shakur and Shakur people like, yo, after this shit happened, you feel what I'm saying? Win or lose, if there's a rematch or I don't get a rematch, I'm looking at other fighters at 35. Yeah, he Tank pulling the guy up. Yeah, but that guy talking about staying in, and he talking about fighting the number 2 guy in that division, which is Shakur Stevenson. What the fuck do you dudes want from Frank Martin? I mean, not Frank Martin, from Lamont Rose. He doing what boxing fans want to be done, but y'all want to criticize him because his current dance partner is Tank. But all you excited for some of the people that I seen that are Tank haters, they was loving the fact that Lamont Roach had called out Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn. So I was like, wow, this is some weird ass different energy right here, where it's just, this shit is just blatant. This shit is blatant. Lamont Roach is trash versus Tank, but it's a great fight that I really, really want to see, and blah, 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 blah. You know, because I want to see if that triangle theory rocks, because Lamont Roach versus Shakur, that's the real fight. What? I know I was pushing for the Lamont Roach and Shakur fight, but I was pushing for it because I just thought stylistically it would be something to see if that Frank Martin showed up that showed up for that first Tank fight. So now that this shit is mandated and everything else is definitely falling in line, I got no problem with wanting to watch that Lamont Roach versus Tank rematch. I want to see what happens now. Does Tank knock this dude out? You feel what I'm saying? Or does Lamont Roach have another gear that we haven't seen yet? And maybe can he pull off the point victory over Tank? Will he fight to survive and not be knocked out and try to get the point victory? Or will he try to fight to win the fight and get the point victory? Or do what he claimed he said he gonna do, like you did the other day, was like, yo, you don't want to poke the bear. You feel what I'm saying? You don't want to do that. You might want to just calm down the rhetoric a little bit, talking about stopping them. Talk about just winning the fight, not stopping them. Just stop and talk. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, even if you got that as the plan, I wouldn't have put that out there.
Yeah, me too, bro. It's just
because it's only like, think about it, man. Like, and with me, I'm Tank is my guy, man. Like, that's until proven otherwise. I got Tank, right? But look, even as a Tank fan, I'm cringing over how some of these people are acting towards Lamont. Like, they saying some of the crazy stuff. I'm like, he feeling himself, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, he talking big, but I don't think that he's doing it to the level of where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe he would say that. Like, the way people are acting, I'm like, man, he got more than a moral victory. Like, most of the time we be talking, I know you bring up moral victories, right? And we like, yeah, well, that's the moral victory. And like, sometimes you do get the moral, like Boy Truck, even though he lost, that was like a moral victory because we really thought he won.
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes people get the moral victory because who got a moral victory?
I would say the king of moral victories for me is always going to be Anthony Yardy. He'll lose a fight. Against somebody tough, and they be like, yo, he would fight it hard. Yo, did you see how he almost? Like, what is Anthony Almost Yardy? That should be his name.
Because that I guess that Viterbian fight, right?
Yeah,
that was okay, I got you. Yeah, that was a good example. That's a good, but it's like I don't think that, I think Lamont is, I think that when he say the little extra shit he say, it's just like what I was saying the other day. It's almost like, okay, so you just gonna put your finger right in that little wound right there and just twist it around just a little bit. Now I think that it's a mind thing between him, but I don't think that to the public, I don't think it's egregious enough for people to be going at him the way they're going at. That's that shit between them two fighters, for real.
Yeah.
But like, it's his moment. Like, he did what, like, a lot of people thought he was gonna get knocked out. Let the man have his time to shine. Like, it's his time to shine. That don't mean he's gonna be able to do it again. That don't mean that he can't do better. It's like, it wound up being to me, it wound up being an interesting dynamic. And it's like the first time we ever seen Tank face that kind of controversy inside the ring. It's like, it was good for boxing. Because most time people say upsets are good for boxing. Now, as a fan, as that being my guy, I'm like, man, I don't like that shit. But like, as a boxing fan, I'm like, that's good for boxing. We need that. We need sometimes the little engines that could to actually do more than just could. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's good for boxing. It's healthy for it. Just like
I'm gonna say it like this: People know what type. I'm a Devin Haney fan. Even though on his record he did not lose, we saw you lose that fight that night, and I think that was one of the best things for you if you can turn yourself around. Whether or not we'll see that turnaround, I don't know, because it was highly disappointing watching your behavior after the fact. Yes, you got cheated. You feel what I'm saying? But you go out there and you beat somebody else's ass to show that I only got fucked up like that because this nigga cheated. You waited a whole year. You said you wanted to get your head together and figure out some things and figure out who's really in your corner and camp and not. Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But the problem is, just like you did in your other live, Bill, what are you doing, Bill? I get this is the social media era. You feel what I'm saying? But you got to respect the other opponents, because that's who your son is trying to make money off of and money with. So at the end of the day, it's just like, listen, Bill, I don't give you any passes when you come online and start talking stupid shit about your son. I give you a pass as a father talking shit about your son. But when it comes down to just trying to keep it boxing and the business of boxing, maybe you might want to say, now, you know what? I'm in my feelings right now, but right now I'm gonna speak as a dad, not as a manager. And as a dad, people can get behind you with that, Bill, and give you those passes. They said, well, he was talking like a dad, he wasn't talking like a manager. And then when you say something that's stupid and you saying it as a manager, I'm capping for the fight, and we could write this shit off. And all of those extra weird ass fans that, you know, call you Trill Bill and, oh, I love everything that Trill Bill do, they'll have excuses out the day, because you're defining what it is you're doing. And now we understand you're like Jimmy the Mouth of the South, or whoever that dude was in wrestling who had the little blowhorn, little skinny nigga with the loud suit on. You feel what I'm saying? People will say, nah, that's just Jimmy. That's just the mouth of the South, man. They won't pay Bill no mind. It's all about Dad. We gonna see what Dad do. Did Dad turn that corner and become that fighter? Now he's fighting true 50-50 fights. You feel what I'm saying? To whereas everything is pretty much even. So that's what we want to see. And at the end of the day, if you can't be a fan like that of one of your favorite guys or your favorite guy, then maybe you should question what type of fan you are. Because I've been on channels right now, it's going on about maybe 3.5 years, and I've never ever seen that channel make one video where they criticize Shakur Stevenson.
Yeah, I it's for me, especially with like when we be doing our thing and we be going doing the back and forth, I'll be sitting there like really laughing because I'm like, in essence, I'm a bigger fan than you are, but I'm gonna play this game with your dumb ass because you know what I'm saying? Like, I know you fanned out, like, and I know you do it too. I could tell when you be doing it, but I'm like, it just be the weirdest shit, like to where it's like you don't even know. Like a lot of times we be going back and forth, they don't even know what the fuck they talking about. Like they don't even know the history. They don't know. It's like so many little nuances. It's just like, hold on, man. You shouldn't even really be arguing because you sound dumb to people who know.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it's funny to me because then it makes me seem like I'm only a fan of this one guy. It's like, no, I spread that shit around. I hold them and I try, and I don't go out, and I could do it every day, all day if I wanted. If I just wanted to target a boxer and just run them down, I could do it. I would never run out, but I don't do that. I just point out the inconsistencies and how, okay, well, they're using this argument over here. Well, let's put the rule up to this guy over here. Like, oh, okay, that's okay, and that's okay. And I told you about this. It's an era of these guys to where in real time they don't say anything. But then after the fact, after their bosses decide, hey, they're gonna do this and do that, they justify it in hindsight.
Yeah, that's the crazy shit. And it's like, what? And that's when you just look at them like, wait. Hold on. How did you get from there to there when when the thing that's actually in the middle is the elephant in the room that you will not address.
It's like somebody said the other day, they was like, remember he said his hand hurt. I'm like, so because he said okay, so you cool with it because he said his hand hurt, but you don't keep that same energy when it comes to everybody else. It's just like, it's so funny because this is the nuts and bolts of it.
Yeah.
With the JD Herrera fight, he stopped that guy sooner than Shakur stopped that electrician. And I remember when we said, oh man, electrician shouldn't be able to last no 9 rounds. We just wanted him to get him out of there earlier. That's all. That was like our main criticism. Like, we don't think they were so up in the, oh my God. But you notice how they have so much to say about JD Herrera. It's like, okay, well, if you see all those inconsistencies and all that, that's one thing. But the thing is, he stopped his guy faster than your guy stopped, since you're an only fan.
Yeah.
He stopped the electrician. But y'all don't look at it like that. They had all these criticisms for JD Herrera. He might not be all that. He might be flawed. But that's what Shakur to go show us that he is.
Exactly.
Not get in the way of it.
I could give my opinion that I say, listen, I think Shakur beats the shit out of the dude, but I still want to see the fight.
Exactly.
Why didn't you pick the fight?
Exactly.
This would have been that opponent that you could have stood in the pocket with, put on a boxing masterclass, because he is going to be a tough out for you. You feel what I'm saying? Yes, he gets a little wide. You feel what I'm saying? And he backs up sometimes with his head straight, and it doesn't look like he has the best footwork. But I do see that he can get there and be a hell of a technical fighter. I do see the potential, and I do see the flaws. You feel what I'm saying? So, Shakur, this would have been something that, in that situation, you could have looked really, really good if you took the tougher opposition. And then, it was stated that, well, there's no, y'all trying to say he wouldn't have took him. I said, yeah, he would have took him. I'll back you on that. He would have took that fight in a heartbeat. But that's not the fight that we was going to see that night. Because that was already that was already mixed in the cake that, okay,
yep,
we got to make this man look good. If he going to be on our platform and we going to put money behind this dude, we need to make him look good. And the shit that made me say, oh my God, this is going to be interesting, is the one part when I heard the commentators say, watch out for the spectacular display that you're in for a treat watching Mr. Shakur Stevenson. And I was like, what Shakur have you guys been watching? You feel what I'm saying? Because I've never watched a Shakur fight where I was on the edge of my seat. Not even when he beat Yoshino or Jamel Herring. I was just still laid back like, okay, it's a good fight. Oh, he caught him. Oh, nice shot. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't like you see Tank and you hear some shit that goes doosh, and you like, oh my God, what the fuck did he just hit that dude with? Please show the replay. Oh, that's where, God damn. You feel what I'm saying? You don't get that. So I'm just like, bro, listen, I like Shakur Stevenson. I think he's a great technician. You feel what I'm saying? I think if he would have calmed down on his attitude and just, let himself grow the way he was supposed to grow, the way he would have been moved and the way he would have been marketed, people would have been talking about him like he's a lifetime or whatever, or a generational talent. You feel he was this generation's talent. You feel what I'm saying? And his biggest competition in that argument was going to be the unstoppable Tank Davis. The guy who just looks like he cannot be beat. And if you make a mistake, you're out of it. Mega fight all day long. But Shakur, you want to be a star. You want to run a marathon and you don't even know how to crawl yet. Let alone sit up on your own.
Yeah, I just what I've been noticing here lately is that it's so weird, and it's not just when we be doing when we be over there on pop shit. It's not just in that setting, so it's not exclusive to that. It's in these other settings, like listening to some of these lives. It's like when you talk about Shakur and you bring up the opponent, the very first thing somebody says is a reason why he should not fight them.
Yeah.
Like it's like the weirdest. Subconsciously, it just I notice it because I don't even be listening for it, but it's like it's something in there to where I catch it. I'm like, why are they making all these? Like, why is the first thing like even when Tito came up? Who is Tito? And the nigga who just knocked out Pedraza faster than Keyshawn did. That's who he is. The nigga who just called him a B to his face and called them both pussies, like to their face, like ringside. Like who that's who Tito McCall. Who is JDR? The dude that's like number 10 or he might have got a little bit higher now in the WBC in line to fight him.
Didn't that dude Rohan something also call out Shakur?
Did Rohan? I think he was at 40. I'm not. I
like
don't know.
Shakur was sitting in the thing and he was like, yeah, and that bitch ass motherfucker over there right there, Shakur Stevenson, he know what it is.
Oh, that's
that was Tito Makata or Rohan?
That was Tito.
Okay. I don't know why I always thought that was Rohan, but I remember Rohan.
But that's the fight that I thought should have happened at 40 with them two. That'll be an interesting fight. But Rohan went to 47. He a welterweight, so he gonna have Brian Norman problems or you know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but yeah, that was Tito. That was him. And they made it skit. They said, well, who is and blah blah. I'm like, but if you look at this dude's resume, his resume is like, like I ain't gonna lie, his resume is killing a lot of people's resume, bro.
Yeah.
Because he went back and stopped. He been tracing a couple guys. He even fought some guys that Shakur fought and stopped them way faster, like got him out of there like way like obliterated him. You know what I'm saying? It's like his resume ain't nothing. He's doing what a lot of people like quiet as kept. His resume is like beastly. The last time I think, because you asked you said something that got me thinking. I think it was the Conceição fight. Like the last fight I seen that with Shakur had me like, God damn, like it was the Conceição fight. It was like he was poking that man like a pincushion. And his style before that, it's like that's why I keep asking, did something happen with Shakur coming from 35 to 40? Now he got away with Yoshino, but like the last time I seen him really look like had me kind of like on my edge of my seat, and before that was the Conceição fight, and when he was at 130, like some of the things he did, like, but at 135, it's been because you gotta look at like how he did with Hartunian, look at how he did with De Los Santos. He got Yoshino out of there, you know, but like. That's why I be trying to say, like, what are you guys going by? And then, you know, you got the performance. He did what he was supposed to do against the electrician. So what do you really have to go by? And I think that part of the thing is that a lot of his OnlyFans, they get in the way of his fights.
Yeah.
They make excuses, they diminish, they'll excuse away, and then I think he'd be hearing it and be like, well, you know, they don't nobody who's talking about that.
Nobody's
like if people talked about it and stopped getting away of it, because look, we already know JDR Herrera, he ain't ready. We know he ain't, right? But I'm not gonna put that out there and be like he ain't, he just ain't. No, it's like no, the dude is in the top 10, like the same standard, like when here's
the crazy thing. I just want to say this, right? Globally, right? Globally, in JD Herrera's country, he's number one guy out of 8 other fighters that are in that weight class. So we're not going to give him too much points on that. But globally, he's ranked number 11th out of 2,488 fighters. Guess where Schofield is ranked? Schofield globally is ranked number 16 out of the same amount of fighters. JD Herrera was at number 11. But so if he was willing to fight Schofield, right? He's got a 66% knockout rate, 77 pounds. JD Herrera, 88 knockout rate, 67 pounds. 67 rounds. Yeah, what does that say? Yeah, you would have picked him, but no fucking way was you gonna fight that dude on that night.
Right. And just to it's like for, because I asked this question too. Like out of all these guys, who's really like peeling the luster off of these people? Because I know when it comes down because I track them all, so it's kind of like a rhetorical question. But when you look at somebody like Tank, it's either a champion or somebody that's undefeated. And he peeling the luster off of him, right? So, with the exception of Roach, Cruz had already had a blemish because he had lost before Tank. And that one guy, I think it was Jermaine Mirage or whatever, that was like a 6-round fight. That's the only reason why it went the distance, because it was a short fight. If it would have been 12, he probably would have got him out of there or whatever. I think that's his name. But but who, when you look at Shakur, like who did he like peel the luster off of that everybody know, or went on to become something or do something else? That's why I say they need to stop like getting in the way of those fights, because if he did say, all right, give me JDL, you talking that, I'm gonna send you a contract, you better sign that contract and you better show up, you better not pull out. And he go in there and obliterate the man. He peeled the luster off an undefeated fighter that was known as a power puncher, the first one to do it, and that's gonna age well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's gonna, like, but if they keep getting in the way of it and they keep permitting him to not, or advocating that he don't go this way or he don't go that way, like even rematching De Los Santos, for the life of me, I can't understand why. Why are we asking for too much for that rematch? Especially now that you want to go to 40. If you're willing to go to 40 for Gary Antoine, why wouldn't you go to 40 for Frank or De Los Santos?
Exactly. Now here's two things. I watched a video where they was cooking on what Herrera said, right? And one dude, spoken like a true Shakurian, said, "Oh, Shakur don't owe this dude nothing. It would be a great step backwards," and blah 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 blah. So I pointed out Joe Cordina. I pointed out Floyd Schofield and who he actually got in the ring with, which was Patty, right? I said I never heard that argument that they weren't on Shakur's level and it was a step backwards when they were on the table to take the call to fight Shakur Stevenson. You feel what I'm saying? But this dude is. So basically, I ended it by saying, yeah, spoken like a true Shakurian. No one's on his level, and everyone ducks him. Don't you know that comment right there is almost at 1,000 likes right now?
Wow. Yeah, that's because it's the truth is the truth is the truth. It's like you can be mad at it, but like there's the truth.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And the second part I was gonna say was, throughout history, right? Great fighters create great fighters. Mm-hmm. If you fight a great fighter and you have a good showing, the moral victory is you get that push and that confidence boost that you went 12 rounds with this guy. You feel what I'm saying? And you gave him a good fight. So you're going to get that boost. Where you go from there is completely up to you. And if you become champion and then, you have a string of title defenses and then unify and go on from there, then yes, that's a great fighter who create great fighters. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's like, bro, it's common sense. Like, here's the thing. When you talk about Shakur, he's a champion. What other champions did he create?
I can't even name them. Like Joette just now came back. He had a barn burner with this dude. But you can't. You can't. I mean,
Yeah,
I ask that question all the time.
yeah, you just can't do it, but you could do it with so many other fighters. You feel what I'm saying? Whether they have belts now or not, they're a hot commodity. There's somebody that when they're on a card, people are like, yeah, I want to watch that fight. Yeah, I remember what he did against such and such. Yeah, I want to see him in this one. And then he got the stoppage over this guy. Like, whoa.
Hey, I'll bring up a prime example, and this will bring it home. This will bring it home, and I'll let you close out. But look, Gabe Rosado, man, and I started off with that because I seen that interview, man. If you get a chance, man, go back and look at that interview, man. Bill was so out of pocket, but Gabe Rosado, yes, he had a ton of losses on his record, but the dude is really, really respected. He came back, and one of the dudes that I thought was like a nightmare, like that dude Beck the Bully. Like I thought that when I first seen him, I said, "Oh, this dude is a problem." And he got knocked down. He got up and sparked that man, you know. And his resume, Gabe Rosado, his resume is like he got a lot of losses, but like he fought like some legends, like, and he was in all of those fights. He got robbed. He got fights stopped for cuts, but it was no questioning of him being a warrior, and he never had a problem with. They talk about letting him get in there with Berlanga now.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So he's a prime example of, man, like you can suffer losses, you can be in there with greats, but as long as you put on the show, you're gonna get an invite and fan that you're gonna be like, that's the real people's champ. The ones,
Yeah, that's the word I was gonna say.
Like the way like a little bit of how, like, you know how McCumbee fought Caleb Plant?
Yes.
People want to see that. People want to see McCumbee again. Like, you know what? He knocked Caleb Plant down. He gave Caleb Plant a run for a money. He might have been a front runner. He might have gassed out. But goddamn it, I want to see him again. That's what happened.
I want to see McCumbee versus Billy. That shit is like, yo, I think that fight gonna be bananas, bruh. For real. For real. Let that McCumbee take your ass up to Canada, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Go up there with your MAGA hat and all of that, nigga. For real, I'd love to see that fight. And I you know, I don't agree with who he stands for politically, but I do like how he fight. I liked how he fought when he was on Pro Box, and I liked how he showed up, you know, and you know, put his all to a certain degree in that in the fight with Caleb Plant. So, hey, listen, bro, great show, man. Great cook tonight. You know, you can't get no better. You can't get no better than this, man. This is the type of show that many of the talking points, bro, other content creators, they'll be like, damn, this dude just did one show and he gave me like a month worth of shows that I could do shit every day, sometimes even twice a day. You feel what I'm saying? So
appreciate it, bro.
Thanks
for popping up, man, and chiming in, bro.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, yo, great show, man. On to the next one. Let's see what fights is coming up. See what they bring, and you know, have some more great boxing conversations.
All right, bro. You know, I'll get up with you, man.
Yeah, for sure,
man.
For sure.
All right, man. And Johnny, you said his hands are messed up again. The guy's damaged goods, even though, let me see. You said, even though he is the truth, he's got bum brittle hands, not much life left in his game. That guy's a clown, in my opinion. Oh yeah, you talking about McCumbee? But yeah, you know, I try to, you like, outside of saying like slurs and stuff like that, like the hat stuff, I know what it was. It was to garner attention. Some people think they gotta do that. You know what I'm saying? He had the mullet, he had the business in the front, party in the back, haircut, and then the hat and all that, and it did what it needed to do. Like, it had people saying, "Who is this guy with that hat?" It's be weird kind of promotion, so I don't read into it too much. You know what I'm saying? But as far as Shakur, it's interesting you brought that up, Johnny, because I remember when after the Padley fight, they they asked Shakur about Tank. And I gotta let my hands heal. And then instantly with the Lamont Roach stuff, it was like, yeah, I want him next, and I'll do this and I'll do that. I'm like, but I thought you had hand problems. Now I was on a panel debating with somebody, and they kept like, they was going back and forth tooth and nail with me. I was like, hold on, man, that's selective energy. How was his hands hurt? Because this was after Padley, right? The week of after Padley, but before Lamont and Tank fought. So it was like it was a week. In between that time, it was his hands are hurt. Once the Lamont Roach stuff got over with, it's like, oh, I'm fighting Lamont next. Oh, I want Lamont, or he can get this. I'm like, okay, but I thought your hands was hurt. So that's why I was just like, man, I can't. I'm a fan, you know what I'm saying? And I got the videos to show it. I put in the work for it. I went up to bat for Shakur for many years, arguing with Devin fans, arguing with like people that were just making up shit about him and all that. But it's like, I got, like, at some point in time, I had to say, you know what? I don't agree with this move and that move. I can't get down with that. You're not just gonna be able to. I'm not like one of them fans that Bob Arum said. I'm not like a rock where you could just toss me wherever you want to, and I'm just gonna land and stay there like a good little pet. Not me. I got a brain, critical thinking skills, and I'm vocal enough but respectful enough to point it out. And if you don't want to accept the truth, that's your problem, not mine. But salute, Johnny, man. I always think that thanks for your contributions, man. You said Gabe can talk his way into a fight. Yeah, he can. Yeah. Trevor is exciting. Yep. Well, salute, Johnny, man. Thanks for the contributions, man. Yeah, I got you. But anyways, y'all, I hope you got something of value, man. This is Fruits and Veggies, not that Reggie, fact-based content, not opinion-based. Even though I give my opinion, I try to verify it with facts. And don't take my word for it. Everything I talked about, these opponents and what they said and the landscape of everything is public information. So you said you like Trevor, actually? Yeah. I want to see him again. I want to see him again. I want to see him again. I don't know if he'll get in there with my man Diego Pacheco, or even a bounce back for him would be McCumbee and So Cold. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see that in a battle to get back up. You know what I'm saying? To try to climb back up or whatever. It's going to create somewhat of a triangle, create some theories, and put some things in motion. If we were to get it, but that's all I had. Y'all know I really like keeping these like an hour, but this is probably a series I'm going to be doing. This is a series I'm probably going to be doing, man. The Let's Play a Game series, to kind of debunk some of these things that's out here, that people be saying, some of these mute talking points, some of these double standards that they have or whatever. And if I'm talking about these guys, they are my guys. I'm not going to just I'm not going to do no hate-based content. It's because I like these guys. I care about these guys. I want to uplift these guys. It's just, I don't agree with everything they're doing. And that's just me as a fan. Look out for the Great Migration, because it's happening in real time. Anyways, y'all, thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.